From the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio, this is Marquette Now.
Good evening. I'm Nick Artinian.
And I'm Vanessa Rivera. Welcome to Marquette Now. We have breaking news tonight.
6 people, including the gunman, were killed in an active shooter situation at Molson Coors, located in Milwaukee earlier this afternoon. We go live to Sydney Saison in the newsroom.
Thanks, Nick and Vanessa. Just moments ago, a press conference was held releasing additional information about the shooting. Milwaukee Police Department Chief Alfonso Morales said notifications are still being made to the families of the shooting victims. Their names and information have not yet been released. Morales said the shooter was a 51-year-old Milwaukee man who is dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The Milwaukee Police Chief thanked Marquette University Police Department and other agencies for assisting in the response to the shooting. MPD will be investigating the incident overnight. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett called the shooting a, quote, community tragedy. Governor Tony Evers and Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes shared that sentiment. Evers said he and his wife will be praying tonight for those affected. Barnes said that the community has a duty to act against mass shootings that affect the entire country. There will be more updates tonight around 9 p.m. Back to you, Nick and Vanessa.
Thank you, Sydney. President Trump was scheduled to speak about the coronavirus outbreak tonight before he began expressing his condolences to those affected by the shooting. President Trump said, "Our hearts go out to Wisconsin tonight." We were alerted by MUPD with an email today about the shooting at Molson Coors. MUPD has recently updated how they share these safety alerts. Text and follow-up emails will continue to be sent only when there is an active threat to campus. Alerts that aren't necessarily active will be sent through emails. MUPD is finding ways to continue its safety measures, including implementing a safety task force, talking about gun violence with the Milwaukee Police Department, and hiring an MUPD data analyst.
Authorities are still looking for a University of Wisconsin Milwaukee student that went missing last Friday. 18-year-old Sean Bake disappeared after reportedly taking drugs with a friend. Bake's parents last heard from their son in a text message.
And Mike got this message that he just got to me in bed and said, I'm really worried. Listen to this. And, I love you so much. I'm so sorry.
Bake is a type 1 diabetic and has an insulin pump which needs to be refilled every couple of days. Anyone with information about Bake's whereabouts should contact the UWM Police at 414-229-4627 or the Milwaukee Police Department at 414-935-7211.
Joe Daniels' scholarship is coming a long way.
And as I found out, students are reflecting on the impact it has on the business community. Scholarships can make or break a student's college career. And getting one after Joe Daniels' legacy means more than just financial aid.
I think it's amazing. I know his family is super invested in Marquette, so I know they're a big part of it. I know everybody in the business school was affected by Joe Daniels. Even though, like I said earlier, I wasn't personally affected, he was an amazing person. So I really appreciate the scholarship for kids like myself and other people that need it.
With the new business school coming, students might feel financial pressure. But Daniel's scholarship adds to the new school's vision. Receiving scholarships for this business student helped his career.
When I was at the Marquette Business School, they gave me an opportunity to have a great scholarship that I was able to come to this high-class business school that Marquette offers. And I think in the future with the new business school going up, I think it's really going to benefit them, making it more affordable for them to come for greater programs that, the new business school is going to bring.
2 weeks after the incident, and students still feel the impact of the loss.
My teacher was pretty silent for a few seconds, and then we weren't really sure what to do, so we didn't leave even though the class period had ended. And then there was an email sent out a couple minutes later that classes were canceled. I wasn't really personally affected, but I know all the people around me that were affected, so that hurt me in that way.
I'm Vanessa Rivera, Marquette Wire News. As of this past Friday, the scholarship has raised nearly $38,000. The money came from over 200 gifts to honor Daniels.
Milwaukee residents are making their voices heard at the polls. Last Tuesday, City of Milwaukee wards 190 and 191, which include Marquette's campus, voted in the Wisconsin primary at the AMU. On the ballot were candidates for Supreme Court Justice and Milwaukee Mayor, among others. In wards 190 and 191, incumbent Tom Barrett and Lena Taylor received the most votes for Milwaukee Mayor, and Jill J. Karfofsky and Ed Falone were neck and neck for Supreme Court Justice. Marquette law professor Falone will not advance.
Marquette Now's Annie Mattei looks at his journey running for office.
Voting Day, one of the most significant days of the year.
If I don't do something about it, who will? You know, if I don't share my own voice and my concerns, who else will go out and do the same?
Last Tuesday, members of the Marquette community went out and voted in the Milwaukee primaries. But for one member of the Marquette community, it wasn't just a day of voting. Ed Falone is a professor at Marquette University Law School. He has been a faculty member for more than 27 years. He focuses on constitutional law. Falone ran for Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice this election.
I feel I've accomplished a great deal, but I felt that running for the court and trying to make change from a seat on the court was sort of the next step in the way I could serve the state of Wisconsin.
But will not be moving on to the general election. This is not Falone's first run for justice. In 2013, he got 29% of the primary votes. This time, it was only 13%. Although Falone did not win either race, members of the Marquette community saw Falone's potential.
Both climate change and immigration were two issues that were important to me, and that's part of the reason why I voted for Falone.
Although Falone didn't make it through, he still feels positively about the experience.
I think as an academic and someone who studies the law, writes about the law, teaches the law, there's a benefit to actually running for office and seeing at sort of the ground level how politics works.
I'm Annie Mattei, Marquette Wire News.
Marquette hosts a variety of lectures throughout the year. Last week, the annual Neiman Lecture featured a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and Marquette alum.
Jackie Bunachinski returned back to Marquette, where she graduated in 1974. Her lecture was called A Necessary Bias and discussed her experiences as a journalist.
Good for them. It's a reminder of the human desire to speak the truth and of the reach of human ingenuity, which is often at its brightest when times seem to be at their darkest.
Participants attending today's Unlearning Racism workshop series learn to discuss and address issues of racism. This is a 5-part series hosted by Dr. Martha Berry. Berry is the Racial Justice Director of the Young Women's Christian Association of Southeast Wisconsin. Participants lead the workshop equipped with tools to build better relationships across racial differences.
The Center of Engagement and Inclusion is hosting Black Women Rock tomorrow evening in the AMU. They will celebrate the Black women of Marquette with an evening of food and entertainment. Guest speaker Veronica Moore will also be giving a presentation in line with the theme.
Jobs in science, technology, and engineering have grown nearly 80% over the past 30 years, but women still lack representation in the field.
As Nick Galley reports, one campus speaker brings hope for females to have a voice in the industry.
Here on Earth, most people work the typical 9-to-5 job. But for others, they are focused on what is going on up above.
She's also overseen a broad range of human spaceflight activities.
Melanie Saunders is the Deputy Chief Operating Officer of NASA, a position that puts her in the 28% of women working in the STEM field. Saunders spoke to Marquette about not only space programs, but the lack of diversity in the industry as well.
We were coming into the Apollo anniversary last summer, and he was looking at all the pictures, and it's all a bunch of white guys in suits and ties.
I've watched girls that I knew from just my daughter's friends and her start to self-select out somewhere around 4th, 5th grade. I had to really work with her to make her have the confidence that she was good at math. There's a lot of sort of gender stereotypes that are still out there no matter how much you talk.
And her words left an impact on students.
Just seeing that maybe right now in this situation it's only men, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be only men. And also I think it is really encouraging just to see women in the STEM field.
And just keep going until you decide you want to do something different.
At the AMU, I'm Nick Galley, Marquette Wire News.
Ash Wednesday is today and marks the beginning of Lent. Campus ministry observed the holiday by offering services to students. There was a Mass and ecumenical service with the imposition of ashes at the Chapel of the Holy Family in the AMU. There is also a Mass tonight in the Church of the Jesu.
Still to come on Marquette Now, Greek Life is stepping it down with an energetic event that brings people together to celebrate inclusivity.
And one organization is boxing up many goods to benefit those in need. That and more when we come back. Welcome back to Marquette Now. I'm Vanessa Rivera.
And I'm Nick Artinian.
This past Saturday, the 9 fraternities and sororities of the National Pan-Hellenic Council gathered in Varsity Theater for the Brew City Stompdown. Tonight, I'll give you a closer look at the competition. Greek life celebrates unity and inclusivity on Marquette's campus. Over 200 students fill Varsity Theater to witness Wisconsin's largest step show. The National Pan-Hellenic Council put on Brew City Stompdown this past Saturday. The step show is a competition with percussive dancing between 2 fraternities and 1 sorority. Winners receive a monetary prize. Inclusivity is celebrated as different generations of NPHC and students gathered to watch and participate in the event.
I think it's important to show the different types of students that attend Marquette. Since you know, Marquette is has a wide range of diverse students. I think it's important to show the different cultures that from each student's background to make the campus more inclusive and accepting of other people.
In first place was Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, winning $1,500. But the goal of the show is to promote the unity of NPHC and the Milwaukee community.
It drives us all to be a part of an organization that say, hey, we want to step outside the box and let you know we're here to serve, to give back, to take in, to be transparent so the world can see. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud that I get the chance to do that.
I'm Vanessa Rivera, Marquette Wire News.
Last month, Marquette's Black Student Council traveled to the 25th Annual Black Solidarity Conference at Yale University. The conference focused on celebrating innovation by honoring African American contribution across a variety of mediums. President of the council, Brianna Flowers, says the most important lesson she learned is that when institutions truly believe in their mission, they put their resources towards the quality of life of their students.
24% of women will get an abortion before age 45. But the Marquette for Life Club organized a service project that will attempt to diminish those numbers. As Marquette Now's Amy Galashevsky reports, 1 box can make a difference.
The sweet sound of giving back.
So, and they're all going to the local pregnancy centers. Okay, thank you.
This is something that members of the Pro-Life Marquette for Life Club look forward to every year.
Yeah, thank you for coming. This is fantastic.
Marquette for Life President Kayla Beignet has been planning the Baby Box project for over 2 months.
We're able to provide all the items for students and everyone at no cost, and then they just come and help us pack the boxes.
Hundreds of donated baby supplies came from an Amazon baby registry and a pick and save diaper drive earlier this month.
They can stay for a few minutes and pack 1 box or stay longer and pack a lot of boxes, and it's actually helping the community and women in our Milwaukee area. So.
This year, the drive will supply 400 mothers with a baby box. 100 more boxes than last year's total.
I think we finished 100 now, or we did 300.
I think it's great. I think it's really important for a Catholic university like Marquette to really strongly support pro-life issues, and this is a powerfully active way to do that and to help women and babies in need and encourage them, have your baby.
It's not just one day of the year. Marquette for Life will continue to raise awareness throughout the entire Marquette community. Reporting from the Alumni Memorial Union at Marquette University, I'm Amy Galashevsky, Marquette Wire News.
The wind and the snow has been really weird lately.
I agree. It's been a crazy couple of days. Sydney, could you help elaborate on what's been going on lately?
Of course, I'd love to tell you more about the weather. So just so far, it's been pretty windy. I know they say we're not the windy city, but I think we're pretty much close to it. So as far as our weather right now, it's about 24 degrees with clear skies, with humidity of about 64%, with the winds coming from the north at 16 miles per hour. And then as far as over the state tonight for our lows, let's start off with Milwaukee, where we are at 16 degrees, over Madison 13 degrees, over in northern Wisconsin at Superior with 5 degrees, and over in Green Bay with 10 degrees. And then as far as our state highs for tomorrow, over in Superior we can expect temps with a high of 21 degrees, over in Minocqua at 19 degrees, over hitting La Crosse at 29 degrees, Madison 27, and over here in Milwaukee at 27 degrees as well. And then looking to tonight's forecast, We can expect the skies to be partly cloudy with a low of 16 degrees, with humidity of 62%, the precipitation of 10 degrees, with winds coming from the northwest at about 15 miles per hour. But looking towards tomorrow, we could expect mostly sunny skies with a high of 27 degrees with a humidity of 50%, with 0% chance of precipitation, and with winds coming from the northwest at 15 miles per hour. And then going into this weekend, Friday we can expect mostly sunny skies with a high of 27 and a low of 17, as we hit Saturday with a high of 33 degrees, and with a warm-up hitting us on Sunday with a high of 39. And heading into Monday, we'll have a little bit of rain showers here, but it will be warming up with a high of 40 degrees and a low of 36. And then last but not least, looking towards Tuesday, you can expect possible showers with a high of 45 degrees, 45 degrees, and a low of 35. That's all we have for weather. Stay tuned for sports.
Welcome back to Marquette Now. I'm Errol Ashby with your Marquette Sports Update. It's that time of the season when men's basketball starts struggling. The team received its third consecutive loss at Providence Saturday, but they're back home tonight to face Georgetown Hoyas in about 15 minutes. Marquette's record is currently 17-9 overall and 17-7 in Big East play. With the women's basketball team beating Georgetown 76-56 last Sunday, the Golden Eagles have secured a first-round bye for the Big East tournament. Head coach Megan Duffy's team is 21-7 on the season and 12-5 in league play. The Golden Eagles cap out their regular season when they host DePaul for Senior Day Sunday at 2 p.m. Men's lacrosse is coming off a big 18-6 win at Detroit Mercy. Andrew Stimmel and company will travel to Philadelphia this weekend to take on Drexel. The team is 3-1 this season. Meanwhile, the women's lacrosse team is coming off a 16-6 victory over Niagara. Jack Phillips recaps the action from Valleyfield's Dome.
In a battle of the birds, one team soars and another falls.
I think our team had a good energy coming in. We've played a lot of games in short amounts of times, and they're just like really great energy, really great connection. Different people are stepping up in different moments, both offensively and defensively, and that's what you need to be successful.
In the Golden Eagles' 16-6 win over Niagara, the squad completes the weekend sweep, with one player leading the way, scoring 4 goals Sunday afternoon.
It was really exciting, yeah. I think it's just we have so much trust on our attack all over the field, really, but I mean, we make mistakes, we get the ball back for each other, and we keep going.
Marquette now plans to escape the frigid weather, traveling south for a matchup with the Arizona State Sun Devils. And Coach Black knows that her team will have their work cut out for them.
Arizona State's going to be really tough, so I think we have to just continue to build on our strengths, but also fine-tune some of that little stuff. Fouling on defense, we got to limit that. We have to have a little bit more discipline on offense, and tighten it up a little bit down there, and then we have to continue, obviously, winning draw controls.
Reporting from the Dome at Valley Fields, Jack Phillips. Marquette Wire Sports.
Meredith Black's squad has a record of 3-2 and traveled to Tempe, Arizona to play Arizona State tomorrow and Fresno State Saturday. That's all I have for sports. When we come back, an update on the story of the night.
Welcome back to Marquette Now. I'm Nick Artinian.
And I'm Vanessa Rivera. We're back with an update on the Molson Coors shooting, which killed 6 people earlier today. Executive Director of the Marquette Wire, Sydney Saison, and Managing Editor of the Journal, Natalie St. Ange, are live in the newsroom. They have been monitoring this breaking news all evening. Sydney and Natalie, what's the latest?
Thank you, Vanessa and Nick. Like you mentioned, Natalie and I have been monitoring the situation as more details develop. So we are going to walk through some of the other things that were mentioned at tonight's press conference, as well as some other details that we've been getting off social media and from our own reporting through the Marquette Wire. So Natalie, one thing that was mentioned at tonight's press conference was that there are still employees of Molson Coors that are still within the facilities. So I was wondering if you could expand on that and tell us a little bit more about what's happening currently.
Yeah, of course. So at the press conference, Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales mentioned that over 1,000 employees went to work today, and they're still taking account for all of those employees, and they're going through an intensive roll call to make sure that every employee who showed up today is also leaving the building. Obviously, we're not sure if everyone is accounted for yet, and that's why they are going through that intensive roll call to make sure that others aren't missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know some members of the media were asking for further identification of the people that were victims in the incident, but MPD Chief Alfonso Morales did mention, as we said earlier in the show, that notifications are still being made to family members at this moment. And I know Miller Coors has been communicating with employees and trying to get responses for people who are safe and remain in the building.
Right. Yeah, and another thing to note, like this is obviously like a difficult time for those families and for everyone affected. So those names won't be released to the public until everyone is notified, of course. So.
Yeah, and Milwaukee police will be investigating overnight, and I'm sure that we'll be getting additional details tomorrow. And as other media outlets have reported this evening, tonight's shooting is among the deadliest that Wisconsin has seen. So Natalie, can you provide us with a little more context of how this shooting compares to others that the state has experienced?
Yeah, of course. So this is actually the 11th mass shooting since 2004. And that also includes a massive mass shooting that happened in 2005 that could be considered one of the deadliest in the States. It was at a Living Church of God service, and it killed 7 people and it wounded 4, and obviously that was a great effect. But yeah, it's just been crazy across the state since that year. And obviously this is something that we don't want to see happen. I know Lieutenant Mandela Barnes talked about how these are preventable tragedies and that everyone needs to take their part in doing their work to prevent these things from happening.
Yeah, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes seemed like he was really impassioned about what happened this evening. I know he put out a call to action rather than just providing condolences, and said that the community here in Milwaukee and across the state has a responsibility to think about ways we can prevent senseless incidents like this from happening in the future.
Of course, yeah, and he makes note too that it happens in our backyard and it happens more often than it should. So yeah, his call to action was really important and resonated with quite a few people, I think, tonight.
Yeah, and Governor Tony Evers also came out to tonight's press conference, and he mentioned that this incident does not only affect Milwaukee, but it has reached the entire state of Wisconsin, and residents across the state are really concerned about what's been happening. National news outlets have picked up this important story and have reported on it, so it is getting a lot of attention. I was wondering what you've seen on social media and what you've been hearing from Marquette students about tonight's incident.
Of course, so on Facebook actually there is a feature where you can mark yourself safe for the shooting. So whether you were around the area or even close to it, you can mark yourself safe. And I know just scrolling through my feed, I've seen some classmates and some students on campus who have been marking themselves safe to let their family know that they are okay and that our campus community is okay and we are safe over here. But even in this feature Facebook has, a lot of people are providing helpful tips, and they are providing even hotel stays and food for those volunteering to help with this. And they're also just praying and offering condolences for all the family and victims who are affected.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Marquette's campus extends to about 20th Street, and the shooting happened on 35th. We will have updates about this on marquettewire.org, but that is all that Natalie and I have for you. So back to you, Nick and Vanessa.
Thanks, Sydney and Natalie. That's all we have time for tonight, but join us next week for more Marquette news. I'm Nick Artinian.
And I'm Vanessa Rivera. Good night, Marquette.